Hey, Shalom, I want to start off by giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Makak, double honor to the apostles of GMS, and honors to you brothers doing the work in truth while sincerity. This is just a quick one off of this the fallout from this geezer Mesut Ozil, right? He's a German football player, also plays for Arsenal. And basically, he's always scapegoated whenever Arsenal play poorly, whenever Germany play poorly, as has been seen in the last World Cup, the last set of bread and circuses. Right now, basically, want to get onto it in this one is basically the fact that let me get the quote that he said, right? And this is a sentiment that's been felt by Jake. When Mesut Ozil, of course, is a Jake, but then your Caribbeans or whatever, they're always, let's say Nigerian born, Anthony Joshua, let's say, if he loses, right? So he says, I am German when we win, but I'm an immigrant when we lose, right? And he basically says, look, man, I don't even want to put on this Germany top anymore. I don't want to represent you. And it basically made me, consider what the scriptures saith. Right? Because, and we'll get into it as well. This is another one that says, it's not just Mesut Ozil. All diaspora footballers face the same conflict. Right? And, this one's from The Guardian. The first one's from the BBC. Right? Basically goes into the fact that, you got these, other... let me read this. Diasporas the world over find themselves in a tug of love between their home nation and their country of origin, right? But then basically what this geezer Ozil's been saying is like, look, man, y'all have been taking the piss. Y'all are just some racist ass motherfuckers, which the German FA Football Association have rejected. Right, but it made me think of this, what the scriptures say in Isaiah 13 and 14, right? It says, and it shall be as the chased roe, and the sheep that no man taketh up, and they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone to his own land, right? So, hey, when you start seeing a lot more of the hatred, that these Edomites, the so-called white man, has, right? These heathen nations, the ones that can afford, will dip off. They'll be like, nah, man, fuck this, man. Y'all ain't show me the respect. And hey, the thing with Germany, right? I forgot which article it was, right? And let me see if it's in here. Must be in here then. Nah, it's not in this one. But basically, with Germany, what it was is after World War II, right? They basically needed a load of workers to come. Right, so they had these special work visas, and basically you had a lot of people migrate from Turkey to Germany, right? To because Germany had lost men. Right, that's the problem. You after war, you lose men, and then now you need people to fight. So it is, you've got these these Turks that came over to Germany, right? Ozil being one of them, right? Went over to Germany, and then it was Ozil's grandparents rather. Right, and then in fact, it must have been this article that touches on it. Or maybe it was a previous one. Maybe it was the one I was reading before. Yeah. Right, yeah, it says that about half a century ago, his family uprooted from Turkey and came to Germany as guest workers after a labour shortage. Right, it says some 60 miles up the road in Gelsenkirchen, the grandparents of Mesut Ozil do the same thing. So right, basically these devils needed, they needed the men, right? So they got a whole load of men to come over from the lands. But then now that times are good. Now they're like, why are you here? This, that, and the other. Oh, you Turkish bastard, this. And he goes in his statement when he was announcing his retirement, was going into the fact that, these are the things that are being said. Right, so when you're average man on the street, because at the end of the day, man, he's going to go to wherever the money is because he's getting big bucks. Right, but for your guy on the street that maybe has, enough to leave, and there isn't enough of an incentive for him to stay. Right, when these devils start showing their true colors, they gonna fuck off. Right, says they shall every man turn to his own people. Right, so that xenophobia going to be kicking in. Xenophobia being the fear of different, right? The fear of other people. Right, intense or rational dislike or fear of people from other countries. Right, that's the definition there. Right, you're going to be seeing that in these days to come. Right, these race rights, these race wars. Right, it says everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Right, so you have these nigger women, in these which you call predominantly white neighborhoods, right? Which you call married as these white men, right? Hey, in that day, they ain't gonna make it. They shall be thrust through. Hey, same with Jake's in the predominantly white neighborhood. Right, you might be married to a Becky or whatever, right? And then you're there, and then you think everything's cool, but then the dad will just come in and be like, "Look, man, I never liked you, right? Get out, style." Right, and then instead of trying to take your brain, they're just trying to chop you up for dinner. Right, it says Sirach 12:8. From verse 8, rather, it says, a friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. Right, so in times of good, right, you don't know who your people are. You don't really know who you can trust, right? But it says, and an enemy cannot be heard in adversity. So the contrary is also true, right? When hard times out, that's when people are gonna show you their true colors, right? Just really lambacking off what this scripture is saying. Right now, you can have Jakes, married to Edomites, quote unquote, living in their neighborhoods. They're the only Jake in the village, right? But because times are good, right, he thinks everyone's their friend, or she thinks everyone's their friend, right? But when that time comes, when those race wars come, right, that's when these niggas. Brexit, for instance, over here was an example. Brexit, it brought out that inner hatred. Trump does the same thing. It brings out that inner hatred that these guys always had, but have had to keep quiet, right? They've had to basically quell it and not speak about it, right? It says, in the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart, right? It says, never trust thine enemy. Right, our ultimate enemies, these sort of so-called white men, right? And I will say, from my personal experience, I'd say you've got a number of Jakes over there in that land of Germany, right? All but one of the Germans I've met have been Jakes, right? So I do believe you do have a number. However, you will also have a number, if not a larger number, of Edomites over there. Ultimately we don't know, right? Scriptures say Israel's as the sand of the sea in Hosea 1:10, right? But you also have you also have what am I saying? You also have the scripture where the angels basically said, "Hey, look, man, we'll do the separating." The scripture says that the angels will do the separating, rather, Salat. Right, because ultimately we don't know, right? But assuming you got a lot of Edomites here in the land of Germany, assuming these Germans are all Edomites, and that you've got these guys here, that why are you surprised? Why are you surprised that now you ain't performing? Esau's not happy with you, and that's the same with these Jakes over there in, say, England. Right, once again, you've got a lot of Jakes in England. We've also got a lot of Edomites in England, right? And even the ones that are Jakes will be like, you fucking nigger, because for all they know, they're Edomite. They're so-called white men in their eyes. You try to tell them, look, man, you really a Jake. Like that scene in True Romance. You tell him, hey, he was like, look, man, Sicilians really come from niggers. Right, and the guy, he didn't want to hear that. He killed the man, right? It says, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And that's that there said, because iron will rust. Basically saying his wickedness, give him time, will show. The conditions are right, his wickedness will show. Right, it's as though he humble himself, right, and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, right? And thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. right? So basically, he's saying, hey, he might come with that smooth talk. Hey, hey, you Turks, man, come over to Germany. Hey, we need help. We'll give you special guest workers. Hey, look at the Windrush. The Windrush was a similar thing, and the same thing happened to those Jakes. So this isn't just a a thing that English Edomites would do. It's a thing that German Edomites be doing as well, right? It says, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he overtaken thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit. The basically don't have this guy anywhere near you. Don't have your enemy near you. And our biggest enemy is Esau, right? It says, lest he take thy seat, and now at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. Right, so basically, you might be trying to be like, nah, these Edomites are cool, right? But then when you're, when your leg is being chopped off, right, and then they're gonna make you for dinner, you're just gonna be thinking about this scripture like, yo, shit, only if I had listened. Right, it says Sirach 13:4 says, if thou be for his profit, he will use thee, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. Let's read that quote again. I am German when we win, but I am an immigrant when we lose, right? And that's even here in England, you see that joke being made, right? People I gave the example of Anthony Joshua. He's been winning, so he's English Anthony Joshua. But as soon as he loses a fight, like if he does fight Tyson Fury and he gets knocked out, right? He'll be Nigerian, the Anthony Joshua of Nigerian parents, right? But yeah, that's just what I wanted to go into, because hey, let me read it again to close. It says, and it shall be, Isaiah 13:14, and it shall be as the chased roe and as the sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone into his own land. So everyone's gonna start being like, yo man, fuck this. I'm gonna just stick with my people, because these guys ain't down. These guys don't want me here. These guys ain't for me, right? And yeah, that was just the point of going into this, because this was basically happening on here. He's like, nah, these Germans don't want me, fuck them, right? So yeah, till the next time, say shalom.